Hi, if you are learning AI but still don't know FastAPI, you are missing one of the most important skills companies look for today. With FastAPI, you can build lightning fast APIs, write less code, and even get interactive API documentation automatically. In the next few minutes, I will show you why thousands of Python developers are choosing FastAPI. So, hi everyone, I'm Punyakirti BL and welcome to the Fast API for Generative AI series. Whether you are just starting with Python or already building AI applications, this series will take you from the basics to creating production ready APIs. In today's video, you will learn what Fast API is, what it becomes, why it is become one of the most popular Python frameworks for AI development, and the powerful features that make developers love it. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly when to use FastAPI and why it's an essential skill for every AI developer. Let's dive in. So, welcome to our introduction to FastAPI. In this lesson, we are going to understand one of the most popular Python frameworks used for building APIs, that is FastAPI. Before we start writing code, it's important to understand what FastAPI is, why developers use it, and what makes it different from other Python frameworks like Flask and Django REST Framework. By the end of this lesson, you will understand why FastAPI has become one of the first choices for modern backend development, cloud applications, and AI projects. So let's get started. So first question is, what is FastAPI? So let's start with some simple question. What exactly is FastAPI? FastAPI is a modern Python framework that helps us to build APIs quickly and efficiently. But before understanding FastAPI, let's first understand what an API is. Think about some applications you use every day. Amazon, Flipkart, Netflix, Instagram, WhatsApp, ChatGPT. Whenever you search for a product, log in into your account, send a message, or ask ChatGPT a question, your application communicates with a server. That communication happens through a API. Now you are able to understand what is an API, right? So the communication happens through an API, that we call it as API. So what APIs will do? An API acts like a messenger. It receives a request from the user, process the request and sends back a response. Let's understand this with simple diagram. The user sends a request, then Fast API processes that request on the server. If needed, it communicates with a database. Finally, it sends the response back to the user. This is the basic job of an API. So now we understand APIs thing, right? Let's understand different ways to build APIs in Python. Different ways to build APIs are some popular options. Okay, let's see some popular options are Flask, Django, REST Framework, and FastAPI. Django REST Framework, we also call it as DRF. Let's understand each one briefly. First topic is Flask. This is one of the way to develop the APIs. Flask is a lightweight framework. It is simple and easy to learn. It is good choice for small projects. However, if your application becomes large, you may need to install many additional libraries. Okay, next topic is Django REST Framework. Django REST Framework, also called as DRF. It is built on top of Django. It provides many built-in features like authentication, permissions, and database integration. It is commonly used for enterprise applications. However, compared to FastAPI, it requires more configuration and more code. Let's go to today's topic called FastAPI. FastAPI is one of the newest Python frameworks for building APIs. It combines high performance, less code, automatic validation, automatic documentation, modern Python features. Because of these advantages, many companies now prefer FastAPI for new projects. So we understood different ways of creating APIs. let's understand why is FastAPI so popular. Now, you might wonder that if Flask and Django already exist, why was FastAPI created? The biggest reason is speed. In fact, the word fast in FastAPI is there for a reason. FastAPI focuses on two things. One is fast development, second one is fast performance. Let's understand both. Let's start with fast development. FastAPI allows developers to build APIs with very little code. Here the code look like this. From FastAPI import FastAPI, then app is equal to FastAPI. So let's understand all these things step by step. This small program creates a complete API. So first we import FastAPI. From FastAPI import FastAPI. This imports the FastAPI class into our program. Next, app is equal to FastAPI. This creates our application. Think of this is a creating main web server. Once done, now look at the line app.get slash. This is called a decorator. It tells FastAPI if someone sends a get request to the home, run the function below. Then finally, the function returns a Python dictionary. FastAPI automatically converts it into JSON. The output becomes message colon welcome to the FastAPI enclosed in flower brackets. That's why it is a JSON format. Notice how little code we had to write. This is one of the reasons developers have love the FastAPI. This is the code here. Let's run from our Python environment and we can run. Okay, so our environment contains like this Python minus environment. I will activate my environment. Once done, what I am going to do, I want to install pip install FastAPI and unicorn. So the file name is main.py. Inside that we have imported the FastAPI and app. So for me all the requirements are installed. That's why it is understand. Now we are using unicorn. I am running my application. See here, my application is running on the port on the localhost 808080. So what I will do, I will take this, will go to browser and I will paste this. See here, message welcome to FastAPI. So by seeing this message welcome to FastAPI, it is returning a JSON string and we are able to get that in the web browser. This is how API works. So within using a small code, the API is ready. This is the one reason developers love FastAPI. Next one is fast performance. Now let's talk about performance. FastAPI is designed to handle many users efficiently. One of the biggest reasons behind its performance is asynchronous programming. Don't worry, if this sounds new, let's understand with a simple example. Imagine you visit a restaurant. Scenario 1. Synchronous processing. There is only one waiter. The waiter takes one customer's order, then waits until the food is ready. Only after serving that customer does the waiter move to the customer. Everyone else keeps waiting. This is called synchronous processing. Next is scenario 2, asynchronous programming. The waiter takes your order, immediately goes to another customer, then another. Meanwhile, the kitchen prepares all the orders. Nobody wastes time waiting. This is exactly how asynchronous programming works. Let's conclude this with FastAPI. Instead of waiting for one task to finish, the FastAPI continues handling other requests. This improves the overall performance of the application. So let's compare FastAPI's performance with other frameworks. First framework, Flask. The speed is good, easy to learn, yes, async support limited. Django REST Framework, it is good in the speed, easy to learn, moderate, async support partial. But FastAPI speed is excellent, easy to learn, yes, async support excellent. FastAPI is often compared with technologies like Node.js and Go because its performance is very close to them. This means Python developers no longer have compromise on speed. Next feature of FastAPI is flexibility. Another reason developers like FastAPI is its flexibility. Some frameworks require developers to follow strict folder structures like controllers, models, views, roots, for example, like this. But you can organize your project in the way that best suits your team and application. Okay, that's why FastAPI gives you much more freedom. That's why the flexibility of FastAPI is more free. Next, we can understand another feature. FastAPI is automatic data validation. So, most powerful features is automatic validation. Suppose your API expects this JSON, name John, age 25, everything looks good. But now imagine someone sends name as John, age is 25, age numeric we are expecting, but 25 is not a number. The FastAPI automatically detects this mistake and returns a meaningful error message. You don't have to write additional validation code. This reduces bugs and makes your APIs much more reliable. Also, next feature is working with nested JSON. Sometimes APIs receive complex data. For example, API request API endpoint. For example, we have JSON with name John, and inside the address object we have city and country. Even though JSON contains another object inside, FastAPI can still validate every field automatically. FastAPI validation. This is especially useful when building real-world applications. Next, another feature for FastAPI is GraphSQL support. FastAPI is not limited to traditional REST APIs. It also supports GraphQL. GraphQL allows clients to request only the data they needed. So, traditional REST, they will be returning unnecessary information, but GraphSQL or GraphQL precise data. GraphQL returns exactly what the client asked for. This can improve performance, especially for large applications. Although we will mainly focus on REST APIs in this course, it's good to know that FastAPI also supports GraphQL. Also, next feature is it built on industry standards. JSON. Almost every API today communicates using JSON. So JSON is lightweight, easy to read and supported by almost every programming language. That's why JSON is supported by FastAPI. Then OAuth. Security is important for every application. FastAPI supports OAuth, one of the most widely used authentication standards. Then applications like Google, Facebook, GitHub and Microsoft use OAuth for secure login and authorization. Next, we have OpenAPI. FastAPI follows the OpenAPI specification. This allows tools to automatically understand and document your API. So, another feature of FastAPI is automatic documentation. The challenge manual documentation. Normally, after building an API, developers must write documentation manually. This takes tremendous amount of time. The FastAPI solution. With FastAPI, this documentation is generated automatically. Once your application starts, you can visit specific URLs. So docs, interactive testing. These pages display all your APIs with interactive testing support. You can even call your APIs directly from the browser without using external tools. Benefits. This saves a tremendous amount of development time, makes API easier to understand and use, also provides instant up-to-date reference. The next feature is production ready. FastAPI is not just for learning, it is designed for real-world applications. Developers use FastAPI to build AI applications, machine learning APIs, banking systems, healthcare software, e-commerce platforms, microservices. After development, FastAPI applications can be deployed on cloud platforms such as AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. Now we have summary. Let's quickly recap what we learned today. FastAPI introduction. We learned that FastAPI is modern Python framework which is used to build APIs quickly and efficiently. Next, why FastAPI is popular. We understood why it has become one of the most popular backend frameworks. Thanks to its excellent performance, support for asynchronous programming, automatic validation, flexibility, built-in documentation, and modern toolkit development features. Then we learned why FastAPI is popular, FastAPI versus Flask, FastAPI versus Django REST Framework. Comparison and concepts. We also compared FastAPI with Flask and Django REST Framework. Explored concepts like JSON, OAuth, OpenAPI, GraphQL support, and saw how FastAPI simplifies API development with less code. Thanks for watching this video. I am Punyakirti BL. If you feel this introduction to FastAPI is a good video, please subscribe to my channel. Also, share to your friends for more reviews. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video. Happy learning.